YouTube, what is going on? Welcome back to another Identity 5 video, and I finally am back to making a little bit more videos. I know mostly I've been doing streams and not a lot of videos, but I do have today the Season 17 Survivor tier list. A lot of you guys have been asking for that, and we'll have the Hunter one next. So I did put up a poll. It wasn't really a poll, it was more like a community post. I didn't know you could actually add polls, because I suck with technology. But a lot of you guys said you wanted Survivor first and Hunter second, so we're going to go ahead and do the Survivor one first. So as usual, I typically would say something like, oh, I don't want to keep you guys here too long, so we're going to go through this quickly, and then I end up keeping you here even longer than I did in the previous video. So I'm going to say it again. I'm going to try not to keep you guys here as long as, for too long, but it'll probably end up being even longer than the last one. Hopefully it's not. We'll have to see, though. So yeah, today we're doing the Hunter, I just said Survivor tier list for Season 17. Let's get straight into it. Today we have 6 different tiers, D tier, C, B, A-, A, and S. And I know a lot of you guys are going to ask me, like, Eli, what did you do to, like, come up with this list? Where'd you get your info? Well, this time I actually used a tier list from China, made by some Chinese Identity 5 analyst or player or something, I don't know, but there was a tier list out of China for survivors, and a lot of my tier list is based kind of around that, and then also some of the stuff that we see here in NAEU in terms of competitive tournament gameplay, also a little bit of rank, but mostly this is, geared toward tournament style gameplay. So and without further ado, let's get into the tier list. The first tier is D tier, and the first survivor in D tier is Lucky Guy. Now, I know in the last video I actually had Thief even lower than Lucky Guy, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But Thief actually got a small buff. It doesn't do much, and I know some of you guys are probably going to say it does do a lot, and I will explain why it doesn't, and I promise you guys it does not do a lot against good hunters. But anyways, we're talking about Lucky Guy. So Lucky Guy is unfortunately the worst character in the game. You wish for an item, you sometimes don't even get it because it's probability, it's luck. Again, Lucky Guy, you can't really rely on luck-based characters if you want to win IDV games in tournaments, because sometimes your luck will not be with you. The Force will not be with you, or luck will not be with you, or something. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted for that. But basically, Lucky Guy is very luck-based. He's not... he relies on actually hitting the item that you want out of the chest. Additionally, the time it takes for you to actually go search a chest is just like... You're wasting time, you're not cypher rushing, you're not decoding, and you're bringing the team down because of that. So because of that, Lucky Guy is D tier. There's not much to say. He's the worst character in the game. Every character is simply more useful than him. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. The next character in D tier is Thief, and Thief got a small buff. He can drop up to 3 stationary flashlights. He cannot pick them up, but he can drop them. And the hunter can be blinded by them if they walk into them. Now, this is so easily counterable. Let me just walk around the flashlight. Wow, who would have thought about that one? Million IQ. Now you guys can argue, what if he's in like Eversleepy Town, one of the narrow areas, one of the alleyways, he puts a flashlight there. Well, okay, maybe that's not too bad, but if you think about it, there's just better characters. For example, Entomologist can block the pathway with her bees. Prospector can throw a magnet there, you can't dodge the magnet in that area. Batter can knock you back very far. Priestess can easily just portal away. Like, there's just so many, like, better options for characters than Thief, with that. And, Thief's a fun character to play, but overall, he is D tier, and the second worst character in the game, they're just better kiters overall. Moving on to C tier, the first character in C tier is, and some of you might also disagree with me on this, but I promise you guys, this is based off of China, China players, and also I discussed this, again, with a lot of top players, who I know, and they all, for the most part, agreed on this. So then the first character in C tier is Toy Merchant. Toy Merchant, when she first came out, everyone's like, oh my god, a flying character, she's going to be so broken. And in reality, she's really, really bad. Okay, and the reason why she's really, really bad is if you jump, in a couple areas she can be useful, like if you jump on your catapult and it lifts you up to a 2-story area, that can be pretty fun to work with, but in reality, it's not quite as good as it should be. Basically, she takes a second to set up her catapult. The hunter can easily just smack her, and you can even get hit off the catapult if you don't get on it in time. Also, if other survivors use the catapult, they don't have the glider, so it's just kind of like, well, that's useless. If the Toy Merchant jumps on the catapult and uses her glider, that's also not really that good, because the hunter can simply just walk after them. You can't outrun the hunter waits for you to drop down and you just hit them, and you literally just gave them a free hit for no reason. So it's like, what's the point of that? You waste a few seconds of flying and then you just get hit for free, so it doesn't do a whole lot. Her ability where she can carry extra items really has no effect in most matches, just because Again, you want to focus on Cypher Rush, getting through those Cypher machines as quickly as possible. And if you're stopping to search chests and then go halfway across the map to deliver your teammate an item, that's just a huge waste of time. You're losing a ton of decoding progress, and it's just going to, unfortunately, be throwing the match. So you really don't want that effort to really... That's never going to really occur in both rank or tournament gameplay for the most part. So I would recommend just not playing Toy Merchant because of those things. Again, Toy Merchant's a fun character if you guys want to use her again, by all means. That is just why, basically I'm just here to explain why she's C tier, and that is why they're, again, just a lot better characters, and she's just very, not very effective for much of anything, not a great kiter, and not a great supporter. So because of that, Toy Merchant is the lowest character in C tier. The next character in C tier is Lawyer. Lawyer is a very fun character. A lot of you guys who are newer to the game would probably argue that Lawyer is pretty good. And sure, he's actually very good in low tiers. And the reason why is, he can't get Terror Shocked. He can't get Terror Shocked. When he gets hit, he gets an incredible veteran speed boost, which gets him a ton of distance. You can see where the hunter is at the start of or at any point during the game, so you can rotate him. For those of you who don't know what rotating is, it means like leaving your Cypher machine early to avoid the hunter finding you. And you can simply just, hide from the hunter. You can stay away from the hunter for most of the game. Which makes it very hard. The hunter has to, constantly change targets, look for other people, that's pretty good. Again, can't get Terror Shocked, can be a good rescuer, can be a good kiter, because you can vault any window without the fear of actually getting Terror Shocked. Yeah, very fun character to play, very good character if you're newer to the game. But unfortunately, once you get to higher tiers, there's just better decoding. Lawyer gets 20% decoding after he finishes a Cypher if he sells his map. That's a pretty good ability. But there's just, again, better decoding characters. Explorer, Prisoner, Mechanic, all better. Even Mind's Eye might even be a little bit better. I'm not really sure. Although I would actually probably rather have a Lawyer. I don't really like Mind's Eye that much, but that's that on Lawyer. Just not a great character overall, but is good if you are newer to the game. The next character in C tier is Mind's Eye. Now, I know a lot of you guys love Mind's Eye, and I'm sorry to say this, but Mind's Eye is a really bad character. And the reason why Mind's Eye is a really bad character is, again, she's probably pretty good in lower tiers, but once you get to higher tiers, if Mind's Eye ever gets found if Mind's Eye gets found like early in the game, you're going to lose, for the most part. Mind's Eye is one of those characters where it's like, oh, okay, if Mind's Eye doesn't get found first, we'll probably tie, because even if the person, who dies quickly, kite's not too good, it's still probably a draw because of how fast Mind's Eye's decoding is. If the first person does an excellent kite, then you can win. But that's just like that with every character, right? If they do a good kite, you're going to win the game. But with Mind's Eye, it's like, if you don't get found first, you'll probably draw. If you get found first, you'll probably lose. That's just how Mind's Eye is. And I know some of you argue, oh, Mind's Eye's a good kiter, she can see through walls. Okay, sure, she can see through walls, but why not play Mechanic? Mechanic has the same, vaulting debuff and pallet throwing speed debuff. She just can't see through walls, sure. But Mechanic can kite almost as good as Mind's Eye. And if Mechanic dies, she has a bot in play that decodes 25% faster and will do an entire Cypher machine for free, making it so your Survivor team only needs to do 4 Cyphers to win the game. Whereas Mind's Eye can't do that. If she's dead, she's useless. So, Mind's Eye can tap the cane, which is fine. It can help rotation. But a lot of hunters in top tiers will bring Quenching Effect and Teleport. For those of you who don't know, Quenching Effect, at 50 seconds into the match, the hunter can see every survivor on the map. They can see the outline of every survivor. And then they'll just teleport on the Mind's Eye, and they'll be able to get a free kill. Let me rephrase that. They can see every survivor on the map if the hunter doesn't have any presence, so they haven't hit anybody yet. Which, for the most part, is fine. You can just wait it out and teleport on the Mind's Eye. GG's. You'll kill the Mind's Eye. Your team will lose or tie at that point. And the Mind's Eye, you can just never really win. It's so hard to actually win with Mind's Eye. So, because of that, Mind's Eye's kiting is very weak if she gets found. She will die quickly because she's a weak kiter. And it just puts the team in a position where you'll probably lose the game, because at that point, Mind's Eye is useless when she sits on chair. And that's why Mind's Eye is a C tier survivor. The next survivor in C tier is Acrobat. And I know there's so many people who love Acrobat. I actually love playing Acrobat. He's very fun. Unfortunately, in top tiers, he's not very good. He doesn't really do anything to support besides doing maybe the mud ball in a doorway that can help a teammate. But why would you not just have an Entomologist, right? Or a Priestess or something? Acrobat never gets used in competitive gameplay. There's a reason for that. He doesn't even get used on Moonlit, his best map. People would rather use something else like Priestess. And there are just better kiters. Acrobat can use the bombs at the windows, which is pretty cool, to avoid getting terror shocked. If you're cutting it close to a window, you can bomb through the window. You can also jump over little things like low sort of walls, like benches and you know, boxes or whatever on like Moonlit or Sacred Heart Hospital or something. There's certain little areas you can jump over that are pretty neat, but you know, for the most part, it's just like it doesn't do much. He doesn't have anything to support. He opens the gate slowly. I feel like Acrobat should not have the debuff where he opens the gate slowly. I think that's really stupid. Acrobat's already not a great character. Why would you make him even worse? It's sort of like with Magician where they removed the rescue debuff. They need to do that with Acrobat, except less people like worry about Acrobat because he's just already not as viable. Even if you removed that exit gate debuff, it wouldn't really matter. He'd probably still be, you know, not a great character overall. So I would not recommend Acrobat. However, he's a fun character. You know, not bad on some maps, not bad on Moonlit, not bad on Eversleeping, because you can block off the alleyways, force them to walk through the bombs. But overall, Acrobat's just a C tier character. Decent kiter, but has no real support, and there's just better kiting characters in the game. The next character in C tier is Enchantress. Now, Enchantress, guys, keep in mind, this is all tournament-based. This is all for, like, tournament-based gameplay. A lot of you guys will say, oh my god, these characters are so good in rank, and maybe they're not bad in rank, but in tournament, they're really bad. So, Enchantress is a very weak character because she has nothing to kite with early game. So if you get in a situation where, you know, Enchantress gets found early on, she gets chased, the Bunter will probably be able to get a free hit on her pretty easily because she has to just kind of rock kite without any abilities. And a huge part of this game is having good abilities for kiting and having characters to support you, but it's hard to support an Enchantress when she has nothing to kite with early game, and her stuns do stun the Hunter for a split second and really don't do much. And Enchantress is not a good supporter as well, because you stun the Hunter for a split second, they hit the Survivor again, get free presence from it, and it's just like, what's the point? Why would you'd rather have a forward or something useful? So Enchantress is just very weak because of that. She has nothing to help her kite early game, which is a huge downside. If you save all 3 stacks for rebound kite, maybe you can do something, but her 3 stack isn't as long as a flare gun stun with coordinator, and the single stacks are just very ineffective. So overall, she's decent against chip hunters, sort of, but other than that, she's just very weak character overall, and she's a C tier survivor. All right, moving on to B tier. The first character in B tier is Gardener. Gardener is not bad if played properly. A lot of people, you know, in the lower tiers will go around breaking chairs a lot and not actually decode. That's not how you play Gardener, guys, unfortunately. You really need to make sure you're focusing on decoding. Again, huge part of winning games is Cypher Rush. Now, there is, of course, the support factor with breaking the chairs, but if you're going to play a support character, you should not be playing Gardener. There are characters that are better at supporting. Gardener is pretty much only used in China to counter Bloody Queen. And it's also used here, because Gardener is like, you know, you have your bubble. So basically how Gardener works against Bloody Queen, she's actually very good against Bloody Queen in that, you know, if your bubble at the start of the match, you can force her to possibly mirror you, hit the bubble, you know, if you get found first, then she's forced to mirror you again. As soon as the mirror goes up, you can stand still. You have to kind of predict it. You know, wait for the hunter to start to mirror you. Get that bubble, take the bubble hit with the mirror image. A mirror image goes into attack recovery, and you transition away and you can kite out the mirror. A lot of survivors cannot kite out mirror images because Bloody Queen is very hard, very difficult to actually be able to kite. Gardener is one of the very few characters that can actually do that effectively. Sometimes it doesn't work. The Bloody Queen will sometimes bait out your bubble by faking mirror, then mirroring after the bubble disappears. It wastes time though, so it's not bad. And if you're smart with the Gardener, you'll move to cancel your bubble right before, when she's faking her mirror, and then you can kind of keep going back and forth. You can waste a little bit of time. It's all about the mind games. If you mind game properly, though, Gardener can be good against Bloody Queen. Against every other hunter, she's pretty much bad. Chip hunters, Sculptor, Bonbon, just destroy her, because they can just kill her bubble easily. Dream Witch can just patrol her, and it wastes the bubble. I mean, there's just so many characters that just aren't good. The Gardener's just not good against, for the most part. Even Wu Chang just feeds presence. So Gardener might be good against Bloody Queen, and she can be used against Bloody Queen, but other than that, she's just not very good, because of that, she's a B tier survivor. The next survivor in B tier is Doctor. Now, Doctor is good in lower tiers. She's also very annoying in mid tiers, but she's not used in high tiers because she is very, very weak at kiting. Again, chip hunters will just kind of run over Gardener. Bonbon, for example, you hit the Gardener with Bonbon. They try to heal. You really have to stay stationary to heal. The Bonbon will bomb you if you try to stay stationary to heal. So you constantly have to keep moving, which means you never get your heal off. Even if you somehow manage to get it off, the Bonbon will just bomb you and then hit you and you're dead. So it doesn't matter. So, because of that, Gardener's just really weak against chip hunters, which is a huge factor in the meta. Gardener's pretty good against something like maybe Bloody Queen, sort of, and then also pretty good against something like Dream Witch, but And also good against Photo, but no one actually plays Photo in top tiers for the most part. I think it's like 1 or 2 Photo mains, but they don't really play that much. So, yeah, because of that, Gardener, she's kind of a B tier survivor. She's not really used in much of anything. I think she's used a couple of times to counter Dream Witch over in Japan, but never really in China. And she's just, yeah, very subpar. A lot of newer players will like to play like body blocking Gardener, where you go around blocking the hunter, body blocking the survivor that's kiting. That's really bad strategy because, again, you're not decoding, which means the ciphers are not getting decoded. Doctor is a regular decoder, which means he decodes at a regular speed, which means you want to use it. There's a lot of characters in this game that have decoding debuffs that decode slower, so you want to use those characters that decode normal to really promote that cipher rush. If Gardener's body blocking, you're not doing that. Also, against chip hunters like Bonbon and Sculptor, they can easily just chip through the Gardener, and the body blocks don't do anything. Violinist can just note through. Feaster can throw up a tentacle. There's just so many characters that are just like, that can easily just counter through that body blocking strategy. So I would never recommend body blocking with Gardener. I would never, or with Doctor. What am I saying? Why do I keep saying Gardener? With Doctor. Doctor's pretty good against Photo and Dream Witch, but that's about it. And that is why Doctor is a B tier survivor. The next survivor in B tier is Magician. Now, Joggy's going to completely disagree with me on this, but Magician is B tier. He's not a very good character, unfortunately. He's not bad, but he's not great. Now, there are some cool tricks you can do with Magician. Actually, Joggy showed me one, which was pretty cool. Essentially, how it works is you, if you're in like a narrow area, like a doorway or a pallet, Magician can actually just put his illusion in the doorway, and you can body block with the illusion, and you can transition away as the Magician, or you can help the survivor. Who's kiting transition away. But again, if you're stopping to do that, you're not decoding, which means the cipher rush is being slowed down. And I think we saw one Magician be used in China IVL because it was a specialty character. I think that person made Magician, so they're like, oh, might as well just let him play Magician, you know, in the 3rd round of this tournament. So might as well. But yeah, for the most part, Magician, his kiting's not very good. If your illusion gets predicted, then you're just giving up a free hit. Of course, there's no risk of Terror Shock anymore, and also Magician, when he gets rescued off the rocket chair, does not have that debuff anymore. And he can potentially rebound, but again, a smart hunter, a good hunter will just follow the footsteps of the Magician and just get a free hit. I mean, there's just not much you can do. Again, the hunter will just follow the footsteps, and that's how you counter Magician. In lower tiers, Magician might be easier because it's harder for hunters to pick up on that trail of the survivor. But for the most part, once you actually get that down, get that trail down, seeing the footsteps, then it's very hard for Magician to actually kite well against most hunters, and that is why Magician is a B tier survivor. The next survivor in B tier is Barmaid. Now, Barmaid, the problem with Barmaid, guys, is that she's actually good against Dream Witch, because you can simply just you get hit with the follower, you use your drink, and then she has to patroller you. But that takes a long time to actually get the patrol off, plus the regular hit, which means the Barmaid can get her heal off, and she can force 2 patrollers. If she gives up a free hit at any point, she can force 2 patrollers, and then that wastes a lot of time. Barmaid's pretty good against Dream Witch. She's pretty good against Dream Witch, I will admit. But she's not good against any other hunters. You could say, oh, she's good against Bloody Queen. If Bloody Queen has her blink online, she's dead. She's going to get mirrored, then blinked. She can't get the drink off in time. Any other character with blink counters her. Any chip hunter, Sculptor, Bonbon counters her. She's just not very good. She's good. She's okay against Bloody Queen if she gets found early, but ideally you're going to be rotating and trying to hide and not getting found. Against Dream Witch, she's good. But other than that, she's not good against any other character. The new Survivor, the Psychologist, is just a million times better than her. And she will easily replace her in the meta. Barmaid's not really meta, but she's kind of used against Dream Witch sometimes. But this Psychologist is, from what I've seen, a lot better. A lot of people think she's a lot better, and she will be replacing Barmaid at any point. So Barmaid, because of that, is a B tier character, and probably will drop even lower once Psychologist comes out. The next survivor, well, actually, we'll talk about the speed drink on Barmaid can be pretty good, but you have to use it at the right time. Sometimes people use it at the wrong time and just get smacked, which is not good. Also against chip hunters, it's really, really bad to use the speed drink against chip hunters because you just get chipped, and there goes your health. So, yeah. The next character in B tier is Embalmer. Now, Embalmer is a very situational character. He's not bad in some instances. Because Embalmer can, like, against... Let me drink some water. I've been talking a lot. Okay. Embalmer's not bad, because he can, like... against very good camping hunters. He can be very good. Hunters without a lot of map pressure. He's very good against something like Bonbon. If you know it's going to be a Bonbon in a tournament, Embalmer is not a bad character at all to pick. Because a lot of Bonbons will bring teleport on big maps. If you rotate well enough, you'll force the Bonbon to actually teleport on you. Once he teleports on you, you already have your coffin set up. If you've already moved away from your coffin when you set it at the start of the match, you're good. He'll kill you, you put on chair, then you coffin across the map. For example, if, let's say, Bonbon and Moonlit River Park. The Bonbon brings teleporting quenching effect. He sees you once his teleport is up, teleports on you, but you've already rotated pretty far away from your coffin. So he kills you, puts you on chair, then you use your coffin to move yourself across the entire map of Moonlit, and you're gone. He has no teleport, he has no way to catch up to you, you're gone. Against other hunters though, like Wu Chang, Dream Witch, Bloody Queen, even Sculptor can kind of chip you from across the map, so it's not quite as good. There's just better characters to use against those hunters. But Embalmer is good against something like Bonbon. He can also be very good against something like Feaster, Violinist, anything with good camp that can get you across without good cipher control, that can get you across the map easily. Embalmer is pretty good because of those things. The biggest downside, doesn't have any abilities to kite with, but he does have the coffin that can potentially save himself in future matches. So, because of that, Embalmer is a B tier character. The next character in B tier is First Officer. First Officer is a decent rescuer. He's actually not bad because he doesn't feed presence. But the biggest issue with him is sometimes these hunters with big hitboxes can hit him out of pocket watch, and that can be very, very hard for the First Officer to deal with. Again, you have to have constant movements. You have to constantly avoid being hit. First Officer's buff was pretty neat, and it's pretty cool. You know, in that you can like you can use those watches. Extra times. You get the 2-second, I think, speed boost, or 2-second difference in the hunter seeing you and stuff, which is pretty cool. Yeah, you got a lot of fun things to work with First Officer. He's a very fun character, very fun, a lot of fun tactics you can use. If you use that first pocket watch, you get that tide turner effect, which means you can guarantee rescue, but you will be getting double hit, which means you're slugged, which is not ideal. So there's that. So I mean, that's kind of the issue with him, but I mean, for the most part, if you get hit at a pocket watch, that's the biggest downside to him. But overall, he's not a bad character at all. So he is a solid B tier. He's a decent rescuer, doesn't feed presence, and has 20% longer chair time if he does get chased first and put on chair. So that's not bad at all. But you guys gotta make sure you use your watches. I will play hunter rank sometimes, and I'll just play against First Officers who don't use their watches, and I can just kill them really easily because they have nothing to kite with. So that doesn't really make sense to me why they don't do that. But make sure you guys use your items early game. A lot of people try to be conservative with their items. Use your items, guys. You want to make sure you don't get hit early game because you need to be able to rescue later game if the hunter does leave you. And yeah, First Officer is a solid B tier character, decent rescuer overall, and a B tier character overall. Alright guys, and we're back. Had to take a little break. Sorry about that. But we're back now. The next character in B tier is going to be Explorer. Now, Explorer, once he got his adjustments and his buffs a little while ago, he was very good in that, you could search through the pages, found him pretty quickly. You could see where the hunter was with that red mark, that red line, and you're a really good hider. You're basically a decoder that can't be chased because you can't be found. Now, Explorer was nerfed, where I think he got his pages 5 seconds slower, which actually ended up being a huge difference. And when you first think about it, it seems 5 seconds slow, it's not a big deal, but that actually is the difference in matches. A few seconds between the difference, between a prime cipher. People found that Explorer, especially these China players, found that Explorer was just not as useful as he used to be. Still a good decoder, and still a good character. However, they discovered that Prisoner was just better overall. And because of that, Explorer ended up being a kind of moved down just a lot. Kind of became like a B tier character. Some people still have him an A-. I personally think he'd probably be A-, but he was put around B tier from some of the China tier lists, so I'm going to go with B tier on this one. So Explorer is a good character overall. Again, a decoder that can't really be found for the most part, but he does get his pages a lot slower than he used to. And especially on big maps, it can be difficult for him because he has to travel across these big maps to actually find his page and then go to a cipher machine after that. And sometimes that can take too long, especially with that 5 extra seconds of searching for that page. That can be the difference in matches. So because of that, Explorer is a B tier survivor, but a pretty good decoder overall. The next character in B tier is Wildling. Now Wildling, you know, when he got his adjustment, he was very, very good. He was pretty much unchaseable. He had 65 seconds of boar time. Whenever the hunter came to you, you could just get on your boar and you're gone. You do have slow decoding, but 65 seconds of invincibility for the most part is pretty broken. You know, every 30 seconds you could easily just reactivate that, and that was a very, very strong ability, you know, overall. And he was nerfed, where every time he got on his board, it was 10 seconds slower, 10 seconds less time he could have on board, down to 35 seconds. And that hurt him pretty bad. He was still decent. He was still around A- tier, but for the most part, he's kind of dropped down a little bit. And he's kind of fallen out of the meta. A lot of the meta is, you know, just heavy Cypher Rush characters. You know, go for fast decoding and get through that Cypher Rush as quickly as possible. Also having some support characters, but Wildling is not as much of a great of a support character in comparison to something like Priestess or Forward. So because of that, he is B tier. Not a great rescuer as well. It is a second route to get off your boar, in which the hunters can use abilities on you that can potentially damage you and prevent the rescue. So yeah, he's not great. He is an unchaseable character for the most part, but he is a little bit more chaseable now once that boar gets down to 35 seconds. You know, like late game, the hunter only has to wait 35 seconds for you to get off board compared to 65, which was very strong, and now that's just not quite as strong anymore. He does have an ability where he can cancel Tinnitus, which is it's a cute little trick that can be useful here and there, but for the most part not too effective. And because of these things, Wildling's now a B tier survivor. The next survivor in B tier is Perfumer. Now, I know a lot of you Perfumerians out there are going to hate me for this, but she is B tier now. She's no longer in A-. And the reason for that is she's just very weak against a lot of the meta. She's not very good against Stream Witch because you can just simply patrol her, and patrol is very strong against the Perfume because, you know, you use Patroller, Perfume runs out, get the hit. So, there's that. Perfumer is actually pretty good against Breaking Wheel. That is the one character she's actually strong against. And that Perfumer can perfume off, you know, status effects like these spikes. If you get spiked, you can perfume it. If you perfume, you get rolled over by the wheel, and then you perfume back. The spike gets removed, and you have the 4 seconds of invincibility where the wheel cannot roll over you for that 4 seconds. So that's pretty good. She's also pretty good against hunters without, like, chip abilities, like, for example, Bloody Queen. If you know you're going against a Bloody Queen in a tournament, Perfumer's a very strong character to have. However, against something like Anne, not as good. Although Anne's not used as much, and that'll be talked about in the, not used as much as Bloody Queen. That'll be talked about in the Hunter tier list later when we do that one in a few days. But Perfumer's good against specific hunters again, like Bloody Queen. If you know it's a Bloody Queen in a tournament, Perfumer's a great character. But in rank, or if you know it's a Breaking Wheel, Perfumer's a pretty strong character as well. There are other options, but Perfumer's not bad. Now, there are, in rank, I would not recommend Perfumer, so to speak, just because she's good on specific maps, maybe like Sacred Heart Hospital, because you can loop Hospital for a long time with those perfumes. You know, you can perfume, drop down one of the holes. The hunter has to wait at the top of that that hole before they drop down, or else you'll just perfume back upstairs and break the hunter's ankles, as we like to say. But for the most part, if you know it's a wheel, then Perfumer is okay. If you know it's a if you know it's a Bloody Queen, then Perfumer is actually very strong. But if you're playing in rank, you don't know what hunter it is, I would not recommend Perfumer, especially if it's like a mechanic band. Because if it's a mechanic band, it's probably going to be a chip hunter like Bonbon or Sculptor. So, because of that, Perfumer is not a bad character, but isn't great overall. She's better teamed up with a Seer. If you have access to a Seer, she's pretty good. But again, chip hunters can still play around that like a Bon. Alright, that is why she's a B tier survivor. She's a good rescue overall. If you bring Tide Turn her, she can be used for rescues, although in tournaments she's pretty much just used for kiting against something like Bloody Queen. Okay, moving on to the next character in B tier and the final character in B tier, that is Cowboy. Now, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Cowboy could be a little bit lower than Perfumer. Perfumer might be better. I don't really know. I actually didn't think Cowboy was that good, but I've been told he's still pretty strong, so we're just going to go with it. Cowboy, and he actually is. Cowboy's a good kiting character. He's a very good transition kiter. He can be good against Bonbon and Sculptor in that, again, transition kiter. Cowboy can transition kite in the open, which can be very hard for Sculptor to deal with. And, you know, as you guys know, one of the best ways for beating Sculptor is transition kite in the open, and that can be very difficult on a Sculptor because they rely on you going in those narrow areas to statue you and push you into the walls and get the chip hits. So against a non-full present Sculptor, Cowboy can be very good. Also against Bonbon as well. If they throw the bombs at you, you can just lasso, transition away. Bonbon has to catch up to you. It can be a problem. It can be good against Feaster. You can lasso, get the speed boost, and push yourself past those tentacles and there's a lot of things you can do with that. Cowboy's not a good harasser, guys. Cowboy's not a good harasser. You can buy a few seconds here and there, but the hunter literally just has to drop. I mean, Cowboy gets hard countered by just dropping. That's not really hard countered, but like countered by dropping. I mean, it's that simple. And Cowboy, you know, misses the last. You can buy some seconds, but it's not ideal. And Cowboy never really gets played in tournaments. There was a player on one of the teams 445 in China. I don't know if he still plays anymore. I don't think he does. But he used to play Cowboy. He was a specialty character. They bring him out round 3. And it was pretty effective. I think he 3+ Cypher kited a sculptor in China, which is pretty hard to do. So, so Cowboy's not a bad character, not a great harasser. He's a decent rescuer, but overall just a B tier character. Alright, moving on to the next tier, which is A- tier. The first character in A- tier is Batter. Now, Batter is... God, there's so many survivors in this game. Okay, Batter's a pretty decent character overall. His harassing is okay. His kiting is pretty good, actually. And he can rescue wall one-shot. You can do the stun on chair trick. Sorry, not Cowboy. Batter is not a bad character by any means. Again, Batter, you know, has the potential to kite in that, you know, when the hunter goes for you, can, as long as you hit your ball, you can push them back a pretty good distance, create distance for yourself, which is very strong, and you know, you can kite that way. Additionally, Batter can support. You know, if a survivor kites towards you, you can hit the hunter back, give the survivor some distance, allow them to potentially keep kiting longer. Batter, if injured, can stun on chair. You know, you can use that rage mode if you want to just get a free save off. You can, when they chair the survivor, when they go into that chairing animation, you can use the ball to stun them, and then just get a free rescue. And that's not bad at all. So he's not bad. You know, he's not a bad character. He does also have that increased vaulting speed. However, Batter does decode 20% slower, I believe is what it is. So he is kind of like a rescue / support harasser character, but isn't like great for Cypher Rush. So that is one of the issues with him. Is that his Cypher Rush isn't great. But he's not, you know, not a bad character. Not a bad character overall. Again, can rescue, can kite, can support, and isn't too bad. Can harass as well. So that is why Batter is an A- tier survivor. The next survivor in A- tier, this will be a huge shock to a lot of you guys, but this is actually Postman. This is a huge shock to me. Postman is actually getting utilized quite a bit in China IVL. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's China Identity 5 League, which is like the big competition in China for Identity 5. So Postman is actually being used a little bit, and his letters apparently aren't bad now. I still think they're not great, but apparently they're not bad. There is a letter you can give that can give 20% increased decoding to one of the survivors. You can give that to your main rescuer since they're probably not going to get chased. And they can decode 20% faster. That's not bad. I mean, it's really not bad if you think about it. You know, you give a letter to a merc, and all of a sudden they decode 5% slower instead of 25%. That's pretty good. You know, you give a decoding letter to the Gravekeeper, and he decodes faster. At that point, he decodes faster than a regular decoder, 5% faster. So, you know, that's actually pretty effective, and that could make the difference with Cypher Rush. Additionally, you can also give a letter, I think, that increases the rescue speed, which is pretty cool. Which can also help with rescues against good camping hunters like Sculptor, for example. You can instantly just save super fast, and the Sculptor can't get the statues off in time. Who knows? And also there's a letter that actually allows the survivor to open the exit gate faster. I think it's the Hope letter, the one where you can see the dungeon, and I think it also lets you open the gate faster. I'm pretty sure is how that works. I'm actually not entirely sure. Don't quote me on this. It's kind of sad that I don't know, but I was playing with the Postman today. I got the Hope letter, and I decoded the gate super fast. So I think that's probably how it goes. But yeah, there's a letter that lets you open the gate faster. The dungeon one doesn't really matter because your teammates in a 4-person VC in tournament, you'll be able to see the dungeon at some point and tell your teammates, or if you die, you can search for it in the ghost mode and find it and tell your teammates. So that's not a big deal, but being able to open the exit gate faster is a huge deal. So that's pretty damn good. So that can make the difference in matches as well. Additionally, he has the dog that can help him kite, which isn't it's not a bad ability. It's not great, but it can help you kite. It can buy you a few extra seconds to get you a pallet and extend your kite. Who knows? So it's not bad. It's not bad. So overall, Postman is a nice A- tier survivor. The next survivor in A- tier, and I hate to say this, but he is kind of down here now. He's not really used as much anymore. in competitive. He is used quite. He's still used. He's still a good rescuer. I don't know what I'm saying. He's still good, but he's not used as much as he used to, and that is Gravekeeper. Now, I personally am a Gravekeeper main. I've been told it's because I look like Gravekeeper, but it's actually I've just played Gravekeeper in rank because I actually like him. I like him a little bit more than Mercenary, and I play Mercenary as well, but Gravekeeper can be good at rescuing against certain hunters. For example, Gravekeeper saving off a Sculptor is actually very good. Gravekeeper can actually just jump out of the shovel, instant save the Survivor, and the Sculptor cannot get those statues up quick enough to try to stuff them. So that can be very good. Gravekeeper is actually not even a bad rescuer against Bonbon as well. People think, oh, he's terrible against Bonbon. Kiting wise, he's not great because he can just get bombed out of shovel. That can be a problem, but rescuing wise, again, you can just jump out of shovel, save super fast. Sometimes the Bonbon won't read it. You'll get the rescue off against the best camping hunter of the game. So Gravekeeper's not bad in that aspect, at all. And yeah, he's just good at saving off a lot of hunters. You save super fast. Very, very hard to actually get Terror Shock with Gravekeeper. And even if you farm the Survivor, you get the rescue off, which is really important against good camping hunters. Even if they get farmed, you're buying time. 20 seconds of Tide Turner is huge, which could buy time. So Gravekeeper, just a good character overall for rescuing. A good kiter as well. Gravekeeper very strong against Breaking Wheel. You can go in that shovel, and the hunter just can't roll over you. GG's. And they force you to change targets, which is a pretty big deal as well. Very good rescue against Breaking Wheel. They have to hit you out of shovel. They cannot do anything to you while you're in that shovel while they're in wheel form. So because of those things, Gravekeeper. Oh my god, I'm losing my voice. Gravekeeper is a solid A- tier survivor and a good rescuer overall in both rank and tournament gameplay. The next survivor in A- tier is Female Dancer. Now, Dancer did get a buff in which she can pick up her music boxes, and she can also do the little twirly thing, which could be good. I don't know. I mean, if people use it properly, it's actually not bad. So far, I haven't really seen people use it properly, but that's probably because we are in NAEU and China's like a million times better than us, apparently. So, but yeah, anyways. So, I mean, it's basically, it gets you from one end of the music box to the other, which is pretty good. You can dodge hits that way. Who knows? Maybe it'll pay off. It's a nice little trick to have. It could potentially, save your kite and make it a little bit longer. Again, she can pick up her music boxes. She can literally just put a fast box down on her cipher, use it to decode. Once she's done, she can pick it up, bring it to the next cipher, put it down, and decode faster on that next cipher machine. And on top of that, it's good for kiting as well. In a tournament setting, you can set up music boxes for your teammates to kite on. Like if you have a bunch of slow boxes and fast boxes set up somewhere, you can go kite on it. The hunter gets slowed down significantly. You get sped up with the fast box, and you can loop them for long periods of time. Additionally, it creates a really cool place with things called item swap. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's basically it's usually where the Mercenary, it could be anyone, but it's usually where the Mercenary goes and searches the chest. Picks up one other item, say he gets like a syringe, and then he drops his elbow pad somewhere. The Dancer uses up her boxes, the hunter breaks them, she kites towards where that chest was, picks up the elbow pads, and then she has elbow pads to kite with after her boxes run out. So characters that run out of items like Dancer is pretty neat because you can do cool little plays like that, which you don't really see that in ranked, but you do see that quite a bit in tournament gameplay, and that can be very effective in a lot of matches. So because of that, Dancer is an A- tier character, and who knows, I think we're going to see her used quite a bit more. I don't know how much in China, but we may see her be used in our tournaments here in NAEU. Alright, moving on to the next character in A- tier. That is the Prospector. Now, Prospector was kind of like, he's always been like a high A- tier character. He's always been a very good kiter. I actually think he could potentially be A tier, although he isn't used quite enough in tournaments to be considered A tier just yet. But I actually think he's very strong. Very good kiter against certain hunters. He does, get countered by things like Bloody Queen. Does get countered, by things like Sculptor, but is good against hunters like Bonbon. So if you know it's going to be a Bonbon, Prospector is an excellent, character to pick. One of my teammates, Disrespect on Fusion, has been playing Prospector. He actually made it to first Prospector, and he's first Prospector by quite a few points right now. But he's been playing Prospector. He's gotten very good with him. He's currently the best, probably the best Prospector on our server. We use his Prospector to play against characters that struggle against Prospector. Like, if it's a third round and other characters like Forward are banned, which is what he'd usually play, then who knows? Maybe we'll pull out the Prospector. So that's definitely a possibility. He's good. Prospector's good against those sort of characters. He's also good on. He can also do a lot of cool little tricks, like on Lakeside Village. If you go up the ramp, you drop a magnet on the ramp, you can actually attract the hunter once you get to the top, pull them right off the ramp, and they fall down. There's some pretty fun little tricks you can do with that as well. He's also good inside maps like Sacred Heart Hospital, things like that. So because of those things, Prospector also gets a speed boost when he passes a metal object, whether it's a locker or a cipher machine. I think it's like every 80 seconds. He can actually get a very fast speed boost, which can be very good for kiting as well. Top of that, plus broken window speed boost, knee-jerk reflex speed boost, plus his magnets, he can kite for long periods of time. Prospector can be a very good kiter. He can also harass. Like late game with the cipher machine is almost primed, like 80% of the way done. The Prospector who hasn't kited yet probably has 3 magnets. He can go throw 3 magnets at the hunter, get the hunter to drop the survivor over and over, stall out for the end game and make it so you can push for a win or push for a tie or something in those sort of situations. And that can be the difference in matches as well. Prospector can save games. Not quite as good as Forward, but he can save games. And because of that, Prospector is a high A- tier survivor. The next survivor in A- tier and the final survivor in A- tier is Entomologist. Now, when Entomologist got her buff, she was absolutely broken, probably S tier. At least the best A tier character. If not, then definitely S tier. But now she got her nerf. She's not as good as she used to be. Still very strong, but nowhere near as good as she used to be. Every time her bees would get hit, she could pull back the bees, and they would literally heal themselves and be at full health again. Now when she pulls back the bees, they still got that damage on them, which unfortunately is not quite as good. But because of Entomologist, Axeway's become almost non-existent. Axeway kind of got nerfed, so he wasn't quite as good anyways, but with Entomologist being a huge character in the meta, Axeway was almost non-existent. And Clown, as you can see, doesn't even get used anymore. I don't know if that has to do with Ento. It probably has to do with some other things as well, but Clown is never used, like, ever anymore. Clown gets absolutely hard countered by Ento. If the Clown dashes into the bees, then it literally just stops the dash. I mean, that's just broken. But after the nerf, Ento does not get that heal on the bees, so she actually, while she used to be very good against something like Bonbon, she isn't quite as good anymore because all you have to do is just bomb the bees, you pull them back, and then you just bomb the bees again or hit the bees, and they're just dead. And then it's on 20-second cooldown. It's like, okay, well, that's not anywhere near as good as she used to be, so that kind of sucks. So nerfed Ento is just not nearly as good as she used to be. I think she's not bad. She still gets used quite a bit in China. And she's good. She can be used first round technically, but there are better characters now, unfortunately. And she's, she's decent, in a third round situation as well. She can also support as well. You can push the hunter back. If someone goes for a rescue, the hunter goes into attack recovery when they hit the rescuer. You can push the hunter back while they're in that attack recovery, making them go super far back, and then the person can rebound kite really easily. And you can help them rebound kite. You can push the hunter back, kind of push them into a corner while they're in their attack recovery, and the person can rebound kite. So, because of that, Ento's a good A- tier survivor, the highest survivor in A- tier, and still a very strong survivor overall. Okay, moving on to the next tier. This is going to be A tier. There's only 3 characters in A tier that I have, and the first one is Painter. Now, Painter used to be, when he first came out, obviously Painter was broken with the 3 paintings and all that, and then now, now he got nerfed, so he was a lot worse then, but he's actually found a huge part of the meta in China. Now, Painter could be A- tier and Ento could be A. I could potentially have these backwards. They're both around high A. They're both either first A- or last A. Those two are very close, so just keep that in mind. But Painter is still very strong now because he's actually good against specific hunters like Bonbon, like Sculptor, against good camping hunters because you set up a really cool play with the Forward. There's a few reasons why, but you also set up a pretty cool play with Forward where what you can do is if the Painter dies, the Forward can instantly just stun on chair. So when the survivor is being chaired with that chair animation from the hunter, the Forward can stun them, get a free rescue, and then when the Painter goes down again, they still have the entire chair time left over because it's a Painter, right? So the Forward can literally just insta-save, not have to worry about camping because he can just stun on chair. Like if a Bonbon or Sculptor wants to camp, you can just stun them instead, and the Painter can just rebound kite from there. Even if they go down, they still have an entire chair time left over. So that's pretty cool. that's a pretty cool setup you can do. It's also just the chair time in general is just very good. You know, if the hunter can't at any point really just like leave the chair, typically you can wait till they're like halfway through, then go leave chair. And if the survivor saves right after half, then that's good for the hunter because they just go back and kill them, and that's fine. But if they leave, they can't leave at any point really, because if they do and they get the save off, then the painter still has that amount of time left over because of that amazing chair time. On top of that, the paintings aren't bad. They're not bad to kite with. On certain maps like alleyways like Ever Sleeping Town, narrow areas where this hunter can't change their camera angle to dodge the painting, that can be very, very useful, right? And it can be good against hunters like Bon Sculptor. It can even be good against something like Bloody Queen. You know, if you put up your painting right when she mirrors you, who knows? Maybe you can cancel the mirror. It's very hard to do. The hunter can kind of look around it, but it's definitely a possibility. So because of Painter's chair time, because of his pretty good kiting potential as well, Painter is a solid high A- or low A tier survivor. Moving on to the next survivor in A tier. We're almost done. I think we got 7 more survivors to go. That is Prisoner. Now, Prisoner, he didn't get any adjustments, didn't really get any buffs or anything, but he found a place in the meta when that Explorer was nerfed to where his pages were picked up 5 seconds faster, or took 5 seconds longer to be picked up, and that was actually a big deal for Painter. For Prisoner, what am I saying? Prisoner is now a good Cypher Rush character. When that mechanic is banned, the go-to typically was Explorer, now it's Prisoner, because Prisoner is not bad if you think about it. Double Decoder is a huge part of the meta in China. You go Mechanic and Prisoner, just hard Cypher Rush the Hunter. You kind of give him an option. It's like, who do you want to chase? Do you want to chase the Prisoner, who has pretty good kiting potential with his shock and doesn't have any decreased vaulting, or do you want to chase the Mechanic? If you chase the Mechanic, then her bot's just going to decode away for free. The Prisoner's going to decode away for free, and you're going to Cypher Rush so hard and probably tie the match or lose because you're getting Cypher Rush so hard. You know, typically when you play Mechanic, you're thinking, oh, we're just playing for a tie. Mechanic's going to die pretty quickly because of her bad kiting, and her bot's in play, so our Cypher Rush is still going to get enough for a tie. Well, with Prisoner, I hate to say it for you hunters, with Prisoner in play, the Cypher Rush is even faster now to a point where it's actually enough to win the game. And a common strategy actually against Dream Witch is, you know, the Dream Witch would ban, you know, for example, if it's Ever Sleeping Town, which is a common round 1 map in China, the Dream Witch would ban Priestess. And then, you know, they would go with, because with the new ban system, basically, guys, how that works is the hunter bans a survivor. The survivors will then pick 2 guaranteed survivors. They, like, lock in 2 survivors, and the hunter will ban 1 more that wasn't locked in. So essentially, they ban Priestess. The survivors would lock in, like, you know, maybe like a rescuer, and then a mechanic, and then the hunter would ban, like, I don't know, Seer or something. I don't know, you know, something like that. And then they would have an option to go double rescue with double decoder. So a prisoner, mechanic, and then double rescue like Forward and Mercenary. And that would set up a situation where the Dream Witch gets Cypher Rush so hard they can't control Cyphers well enough. Prisoner can literally connect to Cypher machines that are almost done that the Dream Witch is trying to camp. And it's just so complicated for the Dream Witch to control all those different Cyphers being worked on with both bot and prisoner connections. And it can be very hard on the Dream Witches there, and that's how the survivors have been winning against these Dream Witches over in China. And that's going to start to be a common theme here in NAEU as well. And additionally, you know, Prisoner is also good, you know, against Mechanic and Prisoner combined together. Super hard Cypher, very hard for the hunter to win, and you can easily just get wins and draws for free with these team comps. And because of that, Prisoner is an A tier survivor. I'm starting to lose it here. I'm getting kind of tired from doing all this. This is taking a while. Okay, almost there. The next survivor in A tier and the final survivor in A tier is Coordinator. Now, Coordinator is a very good character because she can rescue, she can kite, and she decodes at a reasonable speed, and she has a long chair time. That is a lot of good things to have in one character at one time. Again, a huge part of the team comps over in China right now have been that heavy Cypher Rush, let's decode as fast as we can. We don't want to play slow decoders like Wildling. We want to play fast decoders and get through this match. Coordinator, a lot of the time, would just bring broken windows. For those of you who play Coordinator in rank, make sure you bring Tide Turner. If there's only one rescuer besides yourself, like if there's a Mercenary, you're the second rescuer, I would still recommend bringing Tide Turner. If there's 2 rescuers, like a Mercenary and a Gravekeeper, and then you're the third one, then you can bring Broken Windows. But if there's only one rescuer, or if you're the main rescuer, I would always recommend bringing Tide Turner in rank. Now, in tournament, it's a little bit different, obviously, but For the most part, Coordinator is very good because, again, she has increased vaulting speed, 10% faster. She has 10% longer chair time. On top of that, she has her flare gun, which she can use to support, rescue, or give herself a ton of distance when kiting. You know, she can, you know, and on top of that, she has regular decoding speed. She does decode a little bit slower when someone's on chair, but she's also a very good rescuer against something like Bonbon. She's a good replacement to Mercenary. Mercenary gets banned because Bonbon has such good camp and so hard to rescue off of. The Coordinator can just go shoot the Bonbon and get a free save. If the Bonbon doesn't have excitement, then it's a free rescue. And a lot of Bonbons will bring Blink or Teleport. They won't really go for excitement because they have the mindset, I'm not really worried about Cord, and they shouldn't be, but it can make the difference in matches sometimes. And Coordinator is a very good character, you know, overall because of those different things. Again, good kiter, good rescuer, long chair time, and a good decoder. And that's just a very powerful, you know, set of skills to have as a character, and that is why she is the best character in A tier. All right, moving on to S tier, the final tier. 5 more characters to go at long last. We're getting through this. I'm losing my breath, but we're going to power through this. The first character in S tier is Seer. Now, Seer is always kind of been... S tier's kind of always been this way. Seer has always been a strong character overall because he can support those teammates with that owl. So Seer is good because you can see the hunter at the start of the match. You can tell your teammates where he spawned, where he's going, stuff like that. He can make it so every, you know, first kiter is essentially 3 hits. If you're against something like a Bloody Queen, it forces them to use 3 mirrors, or 3 mirrors plus, or sorry, 2 mirrors plus a blink. He combos well with stuff like Perfumer and Barmaid, because Barmaid takes a hit. You know, use an owl, she gets her drink off, gets the heal off. Same with Perfumer. If she perfumes, that perfume's on cooldown, go ahead and give owl, wait for her to get that perfume back, and she can keep kiting just like that. So he's not bad. He's pretty good. He's actually pretty good against Sculptor. As long as you kite in the open, transition in the open, dodge those statues, force a regular hit, you know, with that owl, then you're good. You can force 3 hits. As long as you force 3 basic hits from a Sculptor and don't take any statue hits, you're chilling. You're going to be able to do a good kite. You can also do a fun combination with Seer and Forward, where the Hunter, you know, hits the owl, goes into attack recovery, and then the Forward stuns while they're in attack recovery. Or the Ento uses the Beast to push them back, something like that, and it buys the Survivor a lot of distance. And can allow them to kite for a long period of time. So that's pretty cool as well. Seer's not a bad kiter. You know, he can farm second owl, you know, when he's kiting, he looks behind him enough. So, you know, not a bad character. Not a bad character overall. And Seer's a very good rotator and can, you know, can see the outline of the hunter throughout the match as well, which can be very useful as well to tell your teammates where the hunter's going. And that can be very helpful. So, because of these things, Seer is the lowest S tier survivor, but S tier nonetheless, and a very strong survivor overall. Alright, moving on to the next character in S tier, that is Priestess. Now, as many of you guys know, Priestess is very annoying. She, a very good supporting character, a very commonly banned character, especially on maps like Ever Sleeping Town, because of her incredible support, and also Sacred Heart Hospital. Priestess can literally be getting chased, run up to a wall, and just disappear through the wall with a portal. And you make distance because the hunter gets stunned, and that's pretty cool. She can also support her teammates very well. If you have a portal set up, you can tell your teammates, oh, hey, you know, I have a portal going through this building on Ever Sleeping Town. Go ahead and, you know, you can go through it, and they'll go through it, and they'll be able to kite a lot longer because of a nice portal set up from the Priestess. On top of that, you have the incredible World Portal, or Ultra Long Portal, in which, you know, survivors can go through at any time. They do leave an image, but if they're about to be killed, then great, go through the portal, and, you know, you can kite a lot longer and it wastes time. You can, you know, get knocked down. You can go through it with Tide Turner, and the hunter's gonna have a hard time catching up to you if they don't have teleport, because then you can just get healed up by the Priestess, because the Priestess can, you know, heals incredibly fast, and can make the difference in matches. On top of that, the Priestess can literally disappear through a world portal, not leave any image behind at any point. And, you know, at the beginning of the game, Priestess sets up a long portal to one of their teammates. The hunter goes to you as the Priestess, you go through the portal, and you're gone. And the hunter has to literally leave that area, break the portal, leave the area, and go find a completely new survivor. And it wastes a lot of free decoding for the rest of the team. So Priestess is an excellent kiter, an excellent supporter, and can also heal as well. Can be a nice healer, and it's just a very, very strong, useful character overall, and very annoying to deal with if you are a hunter. Okay, moving on to the next survivor in S tier. Now, I did flip these for this one S tier, and I'm going to explain why. I'm not sure how accurate it is, but I think it actually is very important, and I'll explain why again. The next character in S tier is not forward, it's actually Mercenary. So the third best is Mercenary. Mercenary did get nerfed, so he has 3 elbow pads, which is very unfortunate. Also, his share time is only 10%. So sometimes hunters will actually chase a Mercenary, which is annoying, but he's not as... he's still pretty unchaseable, but is a lot more chaseable than he used to be, that's for sure. So Mercenary does have that 10% increased share time and 3 elbow pads to work with. Mercenary is still probably the best rescue character, like in terms of rescuing, the best in the game, because he has that that ability where, you know, even if he gets terror shocked, he can still make the rescue. Because he'll just be, he won't die, he will die, you know, 30 seconds later, but he can still make the save. He can basically take an extra hit. Mercenary can take extra hits before they go down, and that can be very, very useful, you know, as a rescue character. On top of that, he has his elbow pads to kite with if he ever gets chased. He can elbow pad past 100 to get to chair if he gets cut off from a distance. He has just a lot of nice things that he can do with those elbow pads. Plus that super, you know, long health, having a lot of health, and or a long time, you know, before he dies, and the long chair time can be very useful as well. So it does also have an increased vaulting speed, I think it's by 10%, which could be useful. Again, Mercenary doesn't really kite that much, so it doesn't make too big of a difference, but it can matter sometimes if you do get chased. So Mercenary, just a very good character overall, one of the best rescuers in the game, if not the best, and it's just you know, just a good solid rescuer. You want a Mercenary on every team if possible. So Mercenary is an S tier survivor. The next survivor in S tier, and I do have this one higher than Mercenary now, that is Ford. And the reason why is Ford is getting locked in and also banned a lot more over in China, and also a little bit here as well. You know, a lot more than he used to. It used to be more Mercenary, now it's more Forward. The reason why is Forward is such a strong character, as we talked about before. Forward can stun on chair a lot. You know, he can make it so in a lot of different situations. You can do it against good camping hunters like Bonbon and Sculptor. You can stun on chair and get an insta-rescue pretty easily. You can keep stunning and give the survivor more time to potentially rebound kite. You can harass. Forward can literally change games into wins. Good harassment from Forwards can turn you know, losses into ties and ties into wins. And he's also very strong at something like Breaking Wheel. Breaking Wheel has really no defense against Forward for the most part, other than something like Excitement or trying to use those traps, which a good Forward can play around that sometimes. Forward can literally turn losses against Breaking Wheel into wins easily. A good Breaking Wheel will never really lose for the most part, unless a Forward will, if there's no Forward. But if there's a Forward, then a Forward can easily turn that into a win. You know, with good harassment and good kiting. So Forward can literally make the difference in matches. Again, a hunter goes into attack recovery when chasing someone. If they get their first hit, go into attack recovery, the Forward can stun, buy them a ton of distance, and force the hunter to then change targets onto that Forward, which is not good, because the Forward's a great kiter. You know, he throws the pallets down super fast, vaults pallets super fast, has football to kite with, and can be very, very difficult to chase. So Forward is the difference maker in a lot of matches, and is one of the most commonly locked in survivors and most commonly banned hunters, even for Dream Witch. Dream Witch bans Forward a lot, and the reason why is because a lot of what Dream Witches like to do is they'll sometimes, like, you know, chair a survivor, leave the leech camping the chair, and then bring the spawn follower away to try to pressure a cipher, bring the in-body away to try to pressure a cipher. The Forward can just stun the leech on chair, get a free rescue, and the survivor's gone. And they can get out of there pretty easily. Or if they want to use the leech to pressure and camp with the main spawn, then the Forward can just stun the main spawn on chair and get a free rescue. And it forces the Dream Witch to have 2 leeches on the chair, the main spawn and the person who's shared leech on that rocket chair, and they cannot pressure ciphers, and that allows for free cipher rush for the survivor team, and the Dream Witch's cipher control all of a sudden becomes very minimal because of that Forward applying all that pressure, and that is why Forward is the second best survivor in the game and is S tier. Okay, last but not least, the final survivor in S tier is the Mechanic. Mechanic has always been absolutely broken. Her cipher rush is insane, and the reason why is if Mechanic gets chased first and her bot is in play and she gets put on chair, the bot does an entire cipher machine for free. It literally makes it so the survivors only need to decode 4 cipher machines to win the game. It puts them in a situation where it's like, oh, 5 cipher machines remaining? Just kidding, only have to do 4 to win the game. Now, of course, the hunter can sometimes go pick up the bot and kill it, but if the Mechanic plays well, they're usually not able to pick up the bot, and if the Mechanic rotates well, then they're not going to be able to find the bot if they hide the bot well. then the bot can do an entire Cypher Machine by itself. Mechanic will get chased first. Doesn't matter. They get an entire Cypher Machine for free. And that's very important for Cypher Rush. And that is how survivors can guarantee ties. Mechanic is not great for guaranteeing wins, but with Prisoner double decoding, you can get wins. But it's very hard because if the Mechanic gets down first early and they go down quickly, then that can be a problem. But even if they go down quickly, they can still easily tie because that bot does an entire Cypher Machine for free, and the survivors can easily just play for a tie. So Mechanic is one of the most commonly banned survivors. Sculptor bans her. Breaking Wheel bans her. Even Dreamwitch will sometimes ban her. Not as much, but sometimes. Bon will ban her. So many hunters just ban Mechanic because her Cypher Rush is incredible and is very hard to deal with as a hunter. On top of that, the bot has a lot of other cool plays that you can do. The bot can technically go for saves. It can feed Tinnitus to a hunter to prevent them from leaving the chair. You can put the bot on the exit gate, so it can literally just open the exit gate for free. So you can safely open the gate and stay away from a distance while the gate gets open. If the hunter teleports on the bot, then you guys just go ahead and open the other exit gate. And he has to waste time killing the bot, going into attack recovery. And the bot doesn't get bot can also heal survivors for free. When the bot heals, it doesn't get calibrations when it heals, which is really good. It can open the exit gate without having to be checked as well. It is absolutely... The bot is one of the most broken little traits, items to have in the entire game. On top of that, Mechanic will just bring Snooze. She can sit on the rocket chair for a long period of time with that Snooze, while the Mechanic freely decodes away with her bot and promotes that Cypher Rush. She can literally decode with the bot, do a whole Cypher, then put the bot in the exit gate for the end game. And GG's. And also, Mechanic herself isn't bad. I mean, her main body can decode pretty fast early game. You typically don't do it. When people get injured, she can't really decode that much because her decoding debuff does come into effect there. But she can decode pretty fast early game when nobody's injured. And she can also go for rescue. She can literally go for a save while decoding with the bot at the same time. So a lot of Mechanics will bring Tide Turner because of that. So Mechanic is the best character in the game. S tier, very, very strong overall. And those are the reasons. Alright, after long last, that will wrap it up for the video, guys. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me through this, through this very long video. And yeah, we will have the Hunter tier list coming up pretty soon as well. Also, guys, don't forget to check out ICL, Identity 5 League, which is for NAEU. That is going to be starting this weekend, August 14th and 15th. My Team Fusion will be playing on Sunday, so stay tuned for that. Other big name teams like Legacy will be playing on Saturday, so don't forget to watch out for that, guys. That'll be very, very exciting. You'll see a lot of what we talked about in this tier list come into play in that tournament, in that league, in those matches. So go ahead and watch out for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. You guys are absolutely amazing for all the support. We got over 1,000 subscribers recently, which I was very happy about. If you guys liked the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.